I like how they just keep
They're all
sideswiping her
tripping.
too. They're just
Yeah.
like, they're like, hey,
Get
shut up, he's
over
talking.
it.
Get over it.
They're all young and
Someone ate
I
all
was
my
gonna-
crackers.
yes, I was going to comment on. I knew someone was going to fall out of the pod just based on how it was designed.
Welcome to Cinema So Far, the podcast where good friends talk about great cinema. I'm your host, James, and today we have our co-host, Sydney.
Heyo.
We got Alex.
Fudge.
We got Travis.
Welcome to the team, fellow junior associates.
And we got Paul.
Yo.
And we are all here today to talk about Fallout Season 2, Episode 2, titled The Golden Rule. Again, this was another episode directed by Frederick E. Otoye, and the writers this time were Chris Brady Denton and Chaz Hawkins. I'm going to go ahead and start off with just saying my thoughts. Well, actually, we're all going to go around and say our thoughts for the episode to start out, and then we will get into a recap where we will go scene by scene and talk about the episode, and along the way, hopefully give some of our top moments for the episode and who we thought was the MVP, who we thought really crushed it for us on this one. So this episode is titled The Golden Rule. And I think if we're going to play the name game here, there might be a few different instances where this golden rule kind of came up. What do you guys think?
I'm thinking it's kind of getting challenged for this episode. There are a lot of instances where it's kind of backfiring on Lucy, I think. And it's just kind of getting more challenging to stick to the golden rule, in my opinion.
Well, now she's making rules for it. So she's basically told the ghoul, this is for people, not for you necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to apply it and save this person. And, so she's starting to make choices based on what she feels is the golden rule and who it applies to, I guess.
And he kind of like threw it in her face, like golden rule, motherfucker, like when he was laying there dying.
Yeah.
With scorpion attack,
Yeah, they left the motherfucker part out of the title for the episode, I'm
Right.
sure.
She's like the epitome of no good deed goes unpunished to me. It's
Yeah.
starting to get frustrating.
That's her mantra, yeah.
I think she's kind of doing it to herself at this point in time, though. I'm inclined to agree with Sydney so far as that it's kind of backfiring on her. However, I think that you're seeing kind of different versions of the golden rule throughout this series, and then, or not the series, but this episode. And what I kind of got from that specific scene where, where they're fighting the rad scorpions is that she needs to learn to trust the ghoul a little bit, because as we're about to find out, and I knew this like right off the bat from the tunic thing, that the people that she's helping out are not great people. And this wouldn't be the first time that the ghoul's like, hey, like, we're not, let's not help them. Told her something about the ecosystem of the wasteland, and she didn't listen, and it's going to be to her detriment, I think. But also the other aspect of the golden rule I thought was when we saw Hank, when he thought out that other executive, and then told him like, you bought this ticket for you, but not your family, right? So that's his extension of the golden rule, which is kind of weird because he seems like a diabolical asshole, but he still has some sort of like a moral code that he's living by.
Yeah, he is living by a code, right? So it was a really appropriate title for the episode. And just to speak on the episode, just in a general sense, like, I really want to hear what you guys think of it, because a lot of times, when we watch the first episode, we're really excited for the season to be back, for the show to be back. And a lot of times the second episode is more of like setup, you're really starting to set the stakes for the season as a whole. And sometimes it could be kind of slow, but I didn't feel like that at all. Like, everything that they were doing, I was really interested in way more now than the first season. Because in the first season, I really wasn't feeling all the Brotherhood stuff, or even Maximus, couldn't really care less. But now I find myself like really pulling for him as he's trying to stick to the changes that he started having, when Lucy came into his life. And it just makes you care about him even more. And then not to mention all the stuff with Lucy and the ghoul that continues to be just wildly entertaining, even if it is a little frustrating. I will admit, Sydney, like you were saying, like, you kind of want her to kind of get the picture, or even compromise a little bit to kind of just face her new reality.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating when it doesn't happen, but
They're traveling together, like on a mission together. So it would just make sense to me that she would have a little more loyalty and like have his back more
yeah.
and not let him hang there.
They're so different
Mhm.
is what I got out, what I get out of it. Their thought process is just so at ends of the spectrum. And so, it's going to take probably her some more time to harden up, and, we'll see if the ghoul softens up. But my overall thought, James, especially when you said, a lot of times the second episodes feel like setup. I was going to say, I felt like this episode was all set up.
Yeah.
Going into, okay, we're still kind of laying out the landscape for the different factions, the different players, who's doing what's making it happen. And then, in future episodes, we're going to see how that all plays out. But I felt like it was quite a bit of setup. So,
Yeah.
Really laying that foundation for everything.
All I meant, I guess, is yes, there was a lot of setup, but it didn't feel, I wasn't bummed about it, I guess, is how I felt.
It went by really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
Well, I was going to say that I think that it's not only that, but there's more factions, and that's the thing about the game. And as it seems that they're doing a pretty good job of kind of streamlining their own storyline, but also trying to stay true to the lore and the video games. That the video games does have a lot of different factions, as you might imagine there would be in a post-apocalyptic situation. And then hopefully they don't spend too much time on the minor ones, and I don't think that they have so far. It's just kind of like, oh, those are raiders, whatever, but there's some big players coming up. And then kind of back to the golden rule thing. The thing about Lucy is if she were to listen to the ghoul, she really wouldn't have broken the golden rule, because the golden rule is do unto others what you would wish them to do to you, right? But in the situation where the ghoul obviously knew something about this lady that she didn't, and her saving the ghoul over that lady would actually work in her benefit, in the sense that that lady's not a golden rule type person. And then I also think that the ghoul has his own golden rule as well. I don't think he's lost all humanity. I think it seems like that. He definitely is rough, For instance, we did see him eat like human flesh this time.
he just
not
killed
ghoul
that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my thoughts for this episode was the ghoul is back to being the ghoul. I thought at the end of season 1, he kind of looked like the most noble of all of them, but now he's just back to being an a-hole and, going and doing what he needs to do to find his family, I guess. And
It's because we saw him as Cooper a lot in that last part of the season. It wasn't necessarily him as the ghoul that was being very noble, but yeah.
It's been 200 years, man. That'll change you.
In a sense, I think that that he does have some sense of nobility, or being noble. It's still in there, and I think that's what we're seeing from him. Like, you're going to see that he still has Cooper inside of him, but the exterior is rough and adapted to the wasteland. So, for instance, like, I still have yet to see him like kill a quote unquote innocent person, except for if you want to talk about the ghoul, but he was going to turn into a ghoul, like a zombie basically anyway,
Who, the kid he killed?
No, the ghoul in the first season when he
Oh,
made
okay. Well, he
But he did
he
shoot that
killed
kid, though.
he killed the
He's put his
kid
throat.
for no reason. What apparently
Well,
no
the kid was
reason.
going to draw on him.
I don't think it's for no reason though.
Yeah, the kid
Well-
was going to draw on him. If you draw on you, he's going to shoot you.
Oh, you talk about that one too? No, yeah, that kid was going to draw on him.
Yeah. He gave him a chance
Or
not to
come
draw.
after him later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but still, he could have choked him out. He didn't have to just shoot him.
He's playing by hard rules, but I still think there's a
Y'all
sense
are
of
skipping the Wild West.
Damn.
If he's drawing a gun, I'm drawing a
Yeah.
gun. I'm shooting
exactly.
first.
And I don't think that he's the most morally upright person, but I think he still has a code. Is what I mean.
Yeah, that's what's cool is like it's so up in the air, and Walton Goggins is playing it so perfectly, just writing that line.
I did not see him killing that guy and then like slicing a piece off. Oh, we got dinner. I didn't
Oh.
see that. in the script.
Slurping it up in his mouth.
Yeah,
It's gross. But
He's-
I'm
he's
just
great.
loving him as the ghoul. He's awesome.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like their stuff, the ghoul and Lucy, continues to be my favorite by far. But it's cool that everything else is kind of well rounded and is just as entertaining now, because I don't know. I think they've done a really good job with like raising the stakes from season 1, and then also just progressing the story along to where you're still really invested in all the characters. So if you guys are ready, unless you have any overall thoughts you want to get out, let's get into the recap. We open on Shady Sands as a thriving city, and we meet the parents of Maximus, and they're happy and they're hopeful. Then a man with one of those devices strapped to the back of his neck brings an armed bomb into the town, and we see how Maximus survived his parents, by his parents putting him there in this amazing freezer or refrigerator, or whatever it is.
Indiana Jones.
It definitely was.
It was way
Yeah.
better than the Indiana Jones one, right? Like, dang.
My gut was wrenching. Oh, when they were saying goodbye and putting Max into the freezer or fridge.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that it was definitely gave him some humanity. Kind of what would you do in that situation type deal? Thank goodness he had a anti-atomic freezer to be stuck into.
To be I guess he's like an engineer pretty much, but he's just been given to the community. He's been helping this community, and he's just discovered water from like a pump. Pumping that. So now it took me a moment to realize what it was bringing the scenes together. Of like, okay, why did Hank bomb it? But not only because of his wife, not even really because of that, but because they figured out the water was being drained from the surface. So,
oh yeah, great point.
Lucy's over there. Hey, read me a book, Daddy. And
yeah,
you look at his pip, and it says, bomb detonated. He's just coming off as a real a-hole.
yeah.
Yeah, huge difference in the fathers that we see in those first opening scenes, right? Like that was one of those things I really loved. So that actor that is playing Maximus's dad, he's so funny in this show called Southside on HBO Max. Highly recommend that show. Super funny, and he's a really, I don't know, hilarious character there. So to see him kind of just playing this dramatic role is really awesome. But I just thought he was such a great dad, and pillar of the community, and just, obviously a really inventive person. And just that little bit of time with the parents really told us a lot about what Maximus was probably like as a kid, and then what he was used to, and how that's kind of still in him, even though he's been totally raised after that by the Brotherhood. It was good seeds planted.
What I'd wrote down is the vibe, the feeling that scene gave me was the same vibe and feeling that I had when it was Cooper and his daughter. And I think they probably did that on purpose, maybe to kind of draw a through line, or, a kind of a similarity between the two. The second was, you mentioned that the differences between the fathers, they are very different. And I'm not trying to take up for Hank really at all. I don't think what he did was great, but even where they're similar is in Hank's own mind. He thought what he was doing was what was best for his daughter and for the vault.
But it seems like he thinks what's best is not what's best for everyone else. It's what's best for the corporation.
Right. Well, but
that's definitely in there.
I think his little tribe too, in that same sense. I think they're one and the same to him, the corporation and his family to an extent. And
As Bud's Bud.
It's like a religion. And his wife betrayed the religion, so she no longer deserves to live. But he saves Lucy, right?
And all these other people deserve to die too.
Right.
Yeah, because they're taking our water.
They're apostates in his.
Well, there's been many references to as soon as we can wipe everyone off the surface, we can come back and repopulate it.
Right. Exactly. I think
They're
that's
not part of the list.
That's a tenet of their flawed religion. And then the next thing I was going to ask was because we saw a young CGI'd Kyle MacLachlan, and I wanted to ask you guys, how do you compare that CGI young Kyle MacLachlan to the one that we saw in season 1?
What do you think, Travis?
Which part was that? I didn't even realize that. Sorry. So maybe it was good.
When we see Hank McClane washing his hands, and we realize that he detonated the bomb, because on his Pip-Boy that's sitting on the counter it says it was detonated, but it was another very up close shot of him younger. And
yeah, that scene somehow they were able to do better.
It was so much better
because you don't have to go as young. I think when you got to go too far, you know what I mean? It's hard for our eye to see it. And
yeah,
if you didn't film that person when they were that age, I guess.
But I thought of that, Alex, when I was watching it. I was like, wow, they really did a great job with this one.
Give it another year.
Point.
I think it'll be probably pretty good.
And then the final point I wanted to make on that is you mentioned that he was washing his hands. I thought that was kind of a cool bit of imagery because it's like him washing his hands of the situation.
I thought that too. Just kind of no remorse, just done.
Like,
And the fact that the Vault-Tec Pip-Boy, that it's just this funny or happy-go-lucky, like, you know, just transactional animation, like complete, and it's like boom, yay.
And that's on the bomb too.
Yeah,
That's what's crazy.
like cartoon character holding the bomb.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're Vault-Tec, but we're happy
You're dead
and positive.
now.
We're all
Yeah.
which kind of makes me think of like, you know, if you think of war in modern times, how you just like, there's a guy behind a computer with a drone and it's just kind of that separation of humanity.
Oh, that is a good point. I mean, there's got to be something there. There's some there, right? Like a mindless drone, you would say.
Well, it's just the
Someone you can call that
separation.
guy.
It's a separation of humanity. You don't see humans up close that you're shooting and killing. You see them as dots on a screen, or you see it as the Pit-Boy giving you a thumbs up when the bomb is detonated.
success. You just leveled up. Congratulations.
Yeah. But that was a really good point about the water, Travis. I forgot about that. That's how they found out about.
Yeah, it's
That's
how
the city.
Civilization return without being through their method of ideology and reproduction.
Yeah, and the city seemed to just be on its way up, right? Like, and like you mentioned, Paul, like the way Vault-Tec was looking at things is just everyone is competition, you know?
To the grand plan, their golden rule.
Yeah. And so after that, we go to Maximus, unless there was anything else on this.
Well, I was just thought of it while you said that. The one more golden rule is Maximus's father, which is like always try to leave it better, right? Than where
That's
where
a good
you
point.
go.
Yeah. That was really touching when you said that. And like, you know,
And that was
you're
a
a good
tearjerker.
boy, you're going to turn into a good man. You know, that was really,
For them too to just be like, know what's about to happen, but to try to get this kid in here to not let him know what's about to happen. But the kid somewhat knows, or you don't think, young Maximus,
I mean, I don't think he knew it was happening.
what's as a bomb, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I bet he still remembers some of that, you know, just like he remembers the
It's got to
night.
be in the training,
saving
right?
him.
Like the bomb had already been off once, so it's like you live in this. Okay, if anything happens, we go in the freezer, like you said. Just as an engineer, he knew to put him in the freezer because that was the most secure place
Speaking
out
of
of anything from
freezers,
radiation.
we
Yeah,
haven't
there's-
gotten there yet, but there's a hilarious freezer scene.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
two
that
great freezer
scene.
scenes in this
Love it.
show.
Shout outs to the ice chest today.
All right, so next we see Maximus and the Brotherhood killing some ghouls as they continue to gather relics.
That was funny.
Going straight Resident Evil on those ghouls.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of Resident Evil 4, like your Leon S. Kennedy just popping headshots.
Well, I was wondering if it felt very Fallout. Like, I don't know if that's like what it's like to play the game, but
Yeah, that it did. I don't know. I just when I think of like like a horde of zombies coming at you, there definitely is that in Fallout, and I don't know why. It's a valid point. I don't know why that wasn't the first thing that popped in my head, but I guess because I play a lot more Resident Evil than I have Fallout. But
yeah, I haven't played either, so yeah.
But Fallout, you have these things called VATs, which is kind of like your stats, and then there's one where it's like you can slow down time and like do multiple headshots at once, and then they all just kind of like explode all at once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I think that was a little bit more why it was like maybe more Resident Evil to me than it was Fallout. Fallout's a little more technical and less just poppy.
I just thought it was really funny that they were there's no regard for if there's gas lines or tanks or like just shooting everything, all of the people.
Everything.
It's
Yeah.
just insane.
If it moves, I'm shooting it.
Yeah.
But it's so systematically tactical though. I liked it.
Yeah.
They just kind of swept through like a cleaning service.
It's just military. They don't even know what they're going to get, but they just got to go get it and it doesn't matter. Grab it. What is that? I don't know. Let's go.
It's a toaster.
They're like, this is what we came for.
It was really cool to see that like scorpion ghoul. Did you guys see that? The one that was just kind of like curled up backwards, like
Oh,
Yeah.
like the ring or something,
Yeah. Kind of
yeah,
like
maybe.
or even Conjuring, I guess.
Kimber.
But yeah, that was freaky.
And I don't know if that was a super ghoul or not, because they have super ghouls in the game, but they look basically just like other ghouls. They're just extremely powerful. So I don't know if that's what they were
It
trying
seemed
to
like
portray or not.
Okay.
they
Ghouls
were
are
all
harder to
protecting
kill.
that thing, but it didn't matter with the suits.
And then shortly after that, we see like I like how you see all the stuff spiraling out of the ground, and then you realize it's Area 51 that they're taking base at.
Yeah.
So Maximus returns to the ship. Right before that, he returns and he finds out that Elder Cleric Quintus, has a plan for a coup and a consolidation of power. Just as we're listening to that and listening to him, give him a whole speech about it, we see that those what are they called?
Looks like silos.
Turbines or something.
Turbines,
yeah.
Windmills, yeah.
Yeah, turbines turn into windmills and they blow off the sand and uncover Area 51. And I wrote this down, like, luckily everything is packed up and placed right by the front entrance, apparently, like they're getting ready for a garage sale or something, but they end up finding all these relics right there
it's historical
in Area 51. So yeah,
they verify
that was funny
aliens.
as hell.
I think there's a little shark jumping there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really convenient.
A little bit. Yeah, everything was right by the front door, right next to the Constitution.
It was in a hangar.
Yeah, just open, Yeah, so that was funny. And then, that freezer scene where they open it up and could not care less about this alien.
Yeah. You think that's what they're focused in on, and then they just pull it out and throw it on the ground and like, wow, that's a freezer.
Smack that shit out of the freezer.
And it was still running.
Yeah,
I love that part too, because why do you care about an alien at this point? You know what I mean? Like, there's much worse shit to worry about.
Seen it all.
For us, it confirms there's aliens. We're like, holy crap, there's an alien.
And they unveil this, like they pull the tarp off of this super sweet old muscle car, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna see what this baby can do, and they just take it outside and shoot it.
Yeah,
that's insane. I can't believe they did that.
You'd think they're gonna drive it or race it or something, but no.
Well, that's what I find funny about that too, is because I was kind of reading up on that, because there are cars, like there's a car called the Corvega, it's kind of like a play off of a Chevrolet, right? And in the games, they're atomically powered, right? So when you blow them up, it's like a small nuclear explosion. So there is a fan theory that that's what that was, but I don't think it was, because the explosion was a lot more small. I think that was a pre-atomic vehicle, which would have been like a master relic, in a sense, and they just blew it up. Because it's a combustion engine.
It just shows how dumb they all are.
Yeah. And then as far as the alien thing goes, if I'm not mistaken, I think they do have like little side quests and references in News Vegas about Area 51 and the existence of aliens as well. So I thought it was funny that they just kind of, swept it to the side there.
I watched this episode with my dad, and when the car came up, he goes, "That's a 1957 something."
I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like a 57 Oldsmobile or a Chevy. Yeah.
And then he was just dropping all these facts on me. Again, I went and saw Oppenheimer on with him, and he gave me like we got there like an hour early. He gave me like a whole history lesson just immediately right over my head. But he was telling me just a random fact that bomb they dropped on Japan was called the Fat Boy.
Uh-huh.
And
Fat Man and Little Boy. Really?
Yeah. The first Harley, or the most popular Harley Davidson motorcycle, that's why they called it the Fat Boy, just to kind of stick their competition to all the Japanese motorcycles. They're like, oh, we're the best.
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting.
Kind of messed up when you think about it, but yeah.
Yeah, that is. It is. But random
nice
fact
Harley,
for you, the Fat Boy.
Well, yeah, and since we're talking about it, yeah, it was the Fat Boy and the Little Man, or the Little Boy, I think is what Paul was saying, but it's also, it was dropped from, the plane it was dropped from was called the Enola Gay, which is also a famous song from the 80s, which is about them dropping the bomb on Japan.
Dang.
Well,
Full circle.
yeah, that line was
The lore.
funny, though. He said, "Bring it outside. Let's see what that thing can do."
Yeah, I know, right? You think they're gonna like do donuts?
I was like,
around the hangar. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. And then, so whenever they're there, I don't know. This is one of the things that kind of annoyed me a little bit in the show for this episode was just how dumb the Brotherhood is, like, turning on grenades.
They keep doing the same. It's the same thing, each episode, like they just show you what jerks and idiots they are.
But it's just like, dude, for real?
I'm kind of zoning out during all the Brotherhood scenes, except for when Maximus fights that guy just barehanded and then kills him. So
Bareback.
Yeah, bareback.
Bareback. He's raw dogged him.
Are we gonna try to go chronologically still, or are we just gonna?
Yeah,
cover,
yeah.
cover
I have the next scene ready to go.
because I got a lot to say about the Brotherhood.
Load it up, load it
Go
up.
ahead. No, go ahead right now.
Well, no, I just want to say because I know maybe sometimes we do just all the Brotherhood stuff together and then so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, just talking about Maximus, I really like dug his sense of purpose now. Like he's walking, he almost looks like a completely different person. Like his shoulders are high, he's, got this kind of badass air about him now that he didn't previously have, where he's kind of like iffy and goofy and didn't really know what to do, and now he's just kind of like really like settling into it. And then I think that scene that Sid mentioned is definitely kind of a testament to that, and how
I mean, he's got that Top Gun jacket on. Anybody puts that on, you're a badass, okay? You know, automatically.
Yeah.
and then the whole him and Dane and their conversations, and how Dane's like, hey, don't lose yourself in this, and he's like, but he's just solely committed to it. And then you see him as he's like fighting for his life, and then he kills that guy that he's just kind of looking at Dane like, yeah, what about it,
Well, and he
Yeah.
tells him the Brotherhood is as good as it gets when you've seen what's out there.
Having
So I
something
think-
to fight for, that's a good one.
Yeah, and I think they are really setting this up pretty well. And we'll get to it whenever we get there in the recap. But I think like just talking about the Brotherhood in general, it's a little bit, for me anyway, like you said, I kind of am not as into it like you are, Sid, where you're kind of just, chilling while it's happening.
Glazing.
But yeah, but it's still, I don't know. I think the scenes later kind of pulled me back in. So
It's got to evolve, but they're still working on that evolution, and that's really going to become what is a big part of, I think, the next couple episodes, which is, the factions coming together and, well, we don't let women talk, and, we do ours this way, and, they're trying to bring everyone together until
yeah,
we see what happens.
there's some big things baking in the oven right now. I'm really excited
will.
to see.
yeah, we will see. We'll get there.
Now, I did notice that Maximus has really been put in a position to really set himself in this role and to kind of have all these teaching moments back to back. They like showed all these moments where he's like being more of a leader and more of an example, and like saying all that, this ritual he has of washing his face. He's like, it comes down to this, but also don't stink. It's just common courtesy. Like it's a whole reason for it, but also, this other thing. And he does that with Dane too. Dane's like, well, why would you do that? Well, because it's better to clean up suit. Like,
That's his golden rule.
exactly.
Yeah, like that.
And cleanliness
Okay.
is next to godliness,
Yeah, and just one other thing about that part. I don't think I have it in my notes here, but he's treating his squire very differently than other knights treat their squires. He's trying to actually teach him something and not just being a dick to him. So yeah, you can tell there's a lot of stuff that Maximus is doing to change things, starting with himself, like he said.
Yeah. Bettering ourselves. He says to make a big problem, you can break it down to something small.
Great advice for us all, even if we're not in the wasteland. But Lucy and the ghoul are, and they're walking to Las Vegas still. And Lucy wonders if the ghoul was always this rude. And after telling the ghoul the entire plot of the Christmas Carol, they hear screams for help. Yeah, that part was so funny.
I liked what he said too when she was going to, she's like, somebody's screaming, and he's like, empathy is like mud. You're bound to lose your boots in it, or something like that.
Yeah. He's got a saying for everything.
And even before that was cracking me up when he was like, water, like, give me the water. And he takes a drink, and then there's a drop on his chin that just stays there as he
You
goes to
noticed
walk
that?
away. Yeah. It was funny. I'm like, wow, they didn't reshoot that. They left that there.
And what I like about the ghoul too is like his sayings. They remind me of something that I'm sure you guys are aware of in Texas. Is called Texisms.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, I'm gonna be on you like white on rice or chicken on a June bug. It's just like all those, like
Yeah.
sayings that kind of don't make any sense until you really think about it, or some of them don't make any sense at all, but they're just like nice and folksy and
Yeah.
kind of heartland
They paint
America.
a picture.
Yeah,
you know?
like authentic frontier gibberish.
Really rounds its scene out. Yeah.
Yeah. And
There's still
You
a
know.
balance.
but I think Lucy kind of strikes a chord whenever she's talking to him, when she asks like, aren't you going to want your family to like you whenever you meet them again? And you could really tell that he's thinking about that for a second. He doesn't want to show it, but
It is
You thought about
endearing that she is kind of maybe pushing some buttons on him a little, some tender buttons. I thought that's endearing.
It's almost like a Beauty and the Beast vibe, almost in a sense.
Oh,
you
I
know?
love that.
And the fact that, like, it's like her
Oh, be my
father,
guest.
especially the first one, and I wasn't really thinking about this till now, but her father was captured and taken away, and then she has to deal with this like miserable oaf who's ugly on the outside, but there's still something in there that she's trying to get to.
Then you also feel like he's like dragging her along, and I kind of feel like he keeps thinking like, why am I bringing this girl along? She just keeps causing problems for me, or potential problems.
And I wanted to ask you guys that. Well, here, before I ask that, let me just point this out, which is, to me, it felt like this episode was really hitting on fatherhood pretty hard, with the opening of Maximus, his real father. And then you also cut to him talking to the cleric who calls him son this episode and is trying to be like a father figure to him now. Now you're mentioning the ghoul. We also have Hank, who has his own ideas of fatherhood and who kills that other father because of what he did. So there's just a lot of that in this episode.
And also to add to that point too, I think the one, the Maximus is, because I already talked about this, but Maximus's choir, he's being fatherly to him as well, kind of doing it in a different way. It's almost like breaking a generational, trauma in a sense.
Wow.
It's like, you got spanked when you were a kid and that caused a lot of problems for you. So you're trying it a different way with your kid, maybe some different disciplinary action,
Yeah. Maybe use some soap.
Yeah.
Try it out.
Wash your hands.
So here's a question I had as I was watching, where we basically see the ghoul is annoyed by Lucy every time she opens her mouth or every time she does something. But why do you think he follows her into that building? Because he didn't have to.
It's a good question.
She went to go, do what she was going to do, and him and Dogmeat followed her. Why do you think that is?
I don't
They're on
know.
a mission together. So,
Well, is
that
he
they
going to
have to
need
stick to.
something from
yeah,
her down the line?
yeah. They're going after her dad. Like he's got to go with I think that's why he just feels like he has to go with her.
For me, I think, and this might just be rose-colored glasses here, but I think that this goes all the way back to the Super Duper Mart episode where she, despite everything that he did to her, comes back and saves his life. And I think that's why it's called back to the golden rule, right? Because she said golden rule, motherfucker. And then, he says it. And then I think it's like, in a sense, like, I think that was a point of betrayal to him. Like, he felt betrayed when she saved the tunic girl instead of him. But to say why he followed her in there, I think he has, through everything that they went through the last season, and then how she showed mercy to him, and then how he's, kind of calling back to his daughter, and then how he's hearing her, point those things out to him, the little, the chinks in his armor, his flaws, that he's like feeling internally like, okay, well, this is another daughter. This is kind of somebody I need to look after. Even if it's a kind of like internal conflict, whether he should or should not, there's something in him that's kind of pushing him to do that. And it reminds me a lot of, if you guys have ever played The Last of Us, kind of how Joel and Ellie are, because Ellie was not actually his daughter, but becomes his daughter in the long. And he was actually just kind of like, you're just a package, you're just cargo, and I don't care about you. But ultimately, deep down inside, she's endearing, and he can't stop but kind of love her in a way.
Which, got to throw a plug in for The Last of Us. If Paul or Sydney or Travis, if you haven't seen it,
I've never seen it.
The first season.
Such a good show.
The second one was ass. Sorry.
Okay.
The first season's great. The second one was
I
horrible.
guess we got to talk about it, because I don't know. I kind of disagree. I thought it was just as good.
Play the games.
But-
You'll see what I'm talking about.
I started watching it and got in a couple episodes, and I'm like, I'm tired of the post-apocalyptic world crap.
And here he is.
Had enough.
This one's more fun, though.
This is different. Yeah, that's a little
Yeah. The
dark.
Last of Us, the video games and the TV show, I think the video games even more so, is quite abysmal. It's very, what do you call it? It's very nihilistic. Nihilistic.
Oh,
is what I'm saying.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great way to describe it. And, go ahead, Travis.
I just think she's over there. She's also wrestling with this. I call it surface life, but it's the wasteland. This wasteland way of life, where she's like, "Holy crap! Okay, yeah, he is right. Like, we keep getting into situations, but you have to. The golden rule: you have to help other people." It's like they were baited to help. That woman's calling out. I mean, it's pretty much bait, but they know they're dead. But trying to get rescued. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, is it considered bait if they needed help? I mean,
Yeah, but she's just wrestling with that. Wrestles with, well, there's only one stim pack left. Oh, okay.
yeah,
well, I know
Well,
you're not going to
that pissed
die.
me off.
yeah,
I think the scorpions, the rad scorpions, were in a sense using them as bait. I don't know if
Yeah,
they're
that's what I
sentient
think.
enough to do that, but
Well, and we need to
It
find
kept
out.
them alive.
We
It
need to
didn't kill
find
them.
out about the
I
tunics
think
too.
so.
So we don't really know anything about them.
but yeah, I think we're supposed to be asking those questions of
Oh my
who is
God.
this other group, right? But yeah, we're a little ahead of where I have it here, but we can just kind of skip through that because it wasn't. You guys basically mentioned everything I have written here, which is that Lucy has to make a really hard choice, trying to decide who to save after they get attacked by these scorpions. And she ultimately gives the stem pack to the girl in the tunic instead of the
But
ghoul.
the tunic girl could give a shit less about them and the ghoul, though. They were walking out saying, she was like, I wasn't worried about him, and I hope you don't get essayed by the wrong people. Like that girl
Yeah.
don't give
Well,
a fuck.
And I want to emphasize too, she says, I don't want you to get essayed by the wrong people.
Wrong people.
So that's a clue right there. And then the second thing is the Latin. She's speaking
Yeah.
Latin. So people who play the video games, they know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm sure we'll find out the next episode. But those are some Easter eggs for you, or some hints.
Those were things that I was wondering, frankly, because I was like, okay, who are the wrong people? Who are the right people? And
Yeah.
I'm thinking that, and then I'm also thinking like, okay, there's a whole other faction. There's definitely a Roman thing going on. How weird did this get? Because it's like, even from the trailer, it's like we already know that there's going to be this Elvis, zombie or Elvis ghoul, faction as well. And then there's just so much more, like you said, Alex. Like there's so many more factions kind of just joining the world, our world, as we're kind of looking in on it. So it's really cool to have those mysteries and have those thoughts of like, I wonder who this is and what the hell they're doing here.
But Lucy said when she saved the tunic is she'll die without this stim pack. You won't.
Yeah.
And then she also tells him, you're disgusting and you're cruel.
That pissed me off
But
so much.
I'll be back.
It did me too.
That goes back to it. Like, I just think she's like, it's one of those things where it's like, just because you're a vault dwelling kid who doesn't know much, or especially because you're a vault dwelling kid who doesn't know much, you might trust your elder on this one. Somebody who's actually been in the
Maybe
wasteland.
she's taken out some of her anger because of her dad on the ghoul too.
I think
like
it's a
just
very good
pissed
point.
off and
Yeah.
like just channeling it towards him, taking it out on him.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too, is like maybe she's still in that disbelief point. Like, if my father can do this, what does that mean about the rest of these people? You know what I mean? And then maybe to that extent, yes, like maybe she's just seeing like this coldness is like reminding her of that her father is also cold, or maybe even colder than he is. And she just doesn't want to stay.
And you just have to remember the perspective she's coming from is she doesn't have the backstory on the ghoul. So, she's only seen what he is, which is, he'll kill somebody and start cutting their flesh off and things like that. So
I have a totally different perspective on it, guys. I want to hear what you think, I'm just starting to form this, so forgive me if I'm not getting it right. But like, what are those, the different kinds of archetypes in the story where she's like lawful good?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of the alignment system.
she's a protagonist.
Right. There's a lot of that in the game.
But even more than the protagonist, like she's the one that is, gonna follow the law to the T and not compromise. And I think with her, it's all about this sense of justice, right? Like she tells the ghoul, you wouldn't die, but she would.
Mhm.
And so therefore, if she's balancing that scale, it's like, all right, well then she gets the stem pack.
Yeah.
And then she also says basically like, I want you to sit here and think about what you're doing, and I'm going to come back and save you, because that's the just thing for her to do, which is I'm not going to let you die, but you're going to be here on punishment and, in detention, just thinking about it. So she's very much about justice in like everything that she does.
But I feel like the ghoul is going to come save her ass from the situation she got herself in. I feel
hope
like
so.
that's what's
Maybe.
going to happen.
That would be
Yeah.
the just desserts.
The one problem I had with the story was, why did she have to go back with the tunic? Why couldn't
For
she
real.
save her and let her go and they go
Yeah.
on their way?
She wanted to make sure she made it.
Yeah. To a fault. She's nice and just to a fault,
Yes.
right? Like we're
And
all
she's
sitting here like,
telling the
don't do that
tunic
shit.
people,
Yeah.
I
And
am nice. That was getting me hot. Yeah, I'm like, this is so
Oh,
frustrating. This is frustrating me.
Yeah, when a big group of bullies surround you, you just say, "Hi, I'm nice."
yeah.
man.
No.
And she also tells the ghoul that she's nothing like him. After she tells him she's, that he's cruel and disgusting, she says, I'm nothing like you. So she still sees herself as a different entity than who he is.
But we all have a dark side.
Well, but that's all she's seen from him for the most part, for the most part.
I mean, we got to shout out Goggins here, though, because he's still a badass. I mean, as this scene unfolds, he's like figuring it out and, realizes, oh, okay, this guy's something happened in his back, but he knows what happened. He opens the door, but that dude immediately hits the ground, rolls under the table. That's smart to block the scorpion tail from coming. I mean, he's skilled.
That was a good fight, and man, I thought the CG on the scorpion was great.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just very well done.
I agree. I think that we were talking about, what was our favorite scene. I was picked that was actually my favorite scene, and we could later on talk about my favorite character, my MVP of the season or series episode. I remember thinking it was it reminded me of somewhere between Alien meets Jurassic Park meets Clash of the Titans.
It did. The Jurassic with the Raptors. That was the best scene always.
Ooh,
yeah, that is funny.
Exactly. But I wanted to
but I like your Clash of the Titans reference too.
Yeah. Make a shield out of them. But I wanted to kind of go back to what you were saying, because you asked us what we thought about you're talking about the alignment systems, and as I was thinking about it, you were talking about it. That is a good reference or a good idea, because she is lawful good, and if you notice in a lot of story arcs, the lawful good is the one that always gets taken advantage of, because they're kind of gullible in their lawfulness. I would say that the ghoul is probably chaotic good. He's more of an anti-hero. And then lawful evil would be Hank. But that's it. I just want to
Great point. Great point.
And Maximus?
Maximus, I think we're trying to figure that out.
Okay.
I think he's trying to be lawful good in the sense, but
The elder cleric.
he could be lawful neutral probably.
Matter of fact, we just got to give you homework, Alex. You just got to do the whole poster.
It's gonna be like that GIF with Charlie Day, where he's all the red strings, he's with a cigarette in his mouth.
Pepe Silva.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So, and we're going to get to some of that other stuff. Let me go back to Vault 31.
Yeah, exactly. Get back to Norm.
Exactly.
Norm.
This was a highlight for me too, man, because I'm really enjoying Norm's parts, especially when everyone wakes up. So in Vault 31, we see all the cryo chambers open and all the managers wake up to find Norm there, but without Bud Askins. Once they all realize that things haven't gone according to plan and that they're all trapped, they start to panic.
With the merit dots, the band-aids.
You skip right to
If
it.
y'all get your shit together, get one of these, some band-aid. That was my favorite part. But they did. They all
welcome to corporate America.
Yeah.
Figured it out.
But he hasn't taken control yet.
Yeah. This is just them waking up.
It's just unfolding,
first,
right?
Okay.
But
The girl's like, can anybody else see? And she's blind. Okay.
I like how they just keep
They're all
sideswiping
tripping.
her too. They're just they're like, hey,
Get
shut up, he's
over
talking.
it.
Get over it.
We're here, Jen. I forgot her name.
yeah, and the other lady falls falls out of her chamber.
But they're all young and
Someone ate
I
all
was
my
gonna-
crackers.
yes. I was going to comment on. I knew someone was going to fall out of the pot just based on how it was designed.
Yeah.
They're all young people. They're all buds. Remember? And then they're like, "Hey, we're only supposed to wake up one at a time."
What I noticed was that they were, for a bunch of geniuses, they're pretty fucking stupid.
Right.
Ditzy. They're a bunch
They're
of
middle management.
bunch of
Middle
penny
management.
wastes too, But and I think that's maybe
I want to go
Bud
back in my cryo chamber once.
Yeah. and maybe Bud Askins was like, that's what he did on purpose. He's like, okay, these guys have potential, but they're easily manageable because they're gullible. They're
Management is
they're
everything.
good cattle.
But what they're doing great with the show, though, is they then cut right away from that. So everything we kind of alluded to didn't happen yet. Bam, they cut to another scene. And in this episode, they've really given the Brotherhood, they are expanding that story, that world. And so they did spend a lot more time on those worlds. But
and we'll get back there.
Yeah.
But let me just say this next one, which is We go then back to Vault-Tec and watch Hank enter the cryogenic biorepository section of the building. He's conducting many experiments with rats, all that result in their heads exploding.
Not many. It's the
Cruelty
one
to
experiment over and
animals.
over. It's
Yeah.
the same experiment over and over.
You're right. It's the
And
same
He
experiment.
cleans the cage between everyone too.
Okay, did anyone else? Okay, I'm sorry, but did anyone else think about this when they're watching this episode, which is why is Vault-Tec using these budget ass, containers that just keep opening where when there's a blast that goes off and a rat's head explodes, guts and brains still get on you, even though it's in a glass container. Did you notice that?
think
It's like
it's-
still getting on him.
I
It's like
think
just
it now.
opening and splashing.
It's got
What the
oxygen
hell?
holes. It's coming through the oxygen.
For
what I know-
oxygen,
Yeah,
but-
it's oxygen holes.
I think the lid was just coming up over and over.
Maybe, yeah. I thought
Yeah.
because I thought there was oxygen because I saw that too. I thought it was because I think
think
if you-
drilled
there's
holes.
oxygen holes and then there's
All right.
coming through that. I could be wrong, but
I
Let us
could
know
be
in the
wrong, too.
comments. Correct us.
And maybe it's so the whole cube doesn't just explode. But I just thought it was a really flawed system.
pressurization.
Just stand in front of it as the guts just squirt your forehead.
Yeah, you'd think they'd at least have like another layer of like
something.
something.
It's
Or
funny
he's
we
wearing a
picked out
suit or
different
something. But
Wear a
maybe he
mask.
just
I don't
likes
know.
it though. He's an evil bastard, so maybe he likes the sinew and stuff on his face. Like he obviously, well, we'll get to that in a second.
He must. He must, right?
It doesn't seem like anything's changing with the experiment. He just keeps turning the dial. What? How is that going to make it work? I don't.
Yeah.
What is it going to do?
That's
If you
exactly what I was thinking
get
too,
the right
Travis. Like,
frequency, you control them.
well, what is the experiment? Because even in the first episode, he just cranks it up and that guy's head explodes.
Yeah.
In this one too, it's like he's just keeps cranking
He
it
wants
up
the rat
without.
to use the computer.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
but
I
Mind
got a
control.
little bit of a thought behind that, and I think that because it does link it to kind of because in the first episode there was that conversation where Hank was calling somebody, and there's all these like clues to it's probably Mr. House, and then so I think it was an experiment that they were working on pre-Fallout that didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, Hank's just going back to work.
And he's using it to his advantage. He wants this is their mission. Doesn't matter anybody else exists or not. This is their mission, and
his
this
message
goes forward.
I'm just saying
silly, but I think
well,
that's
I'm
what
just
it should
saying
be.
it's like, what's the goal here? Like, okay, let's say the mouse sits in the chair. Okay. Are we is like Hank expecting him to do some work? Like what is the
I
finish
think so.
line
That's why
here?
I
Is
went
it the
little
goal?
computer. I didn't think I was wondering why they had a little computer in the desk, and I think it's probably because it is like a little nano version of it, and they're trying to get
He wants him to make some TPS reports.
Right.
Well,
Probably, something like that.
He wants
on
to
my
be
desk.
able to control them
Yeah.
to
But
do that. So
have
I
you-
think he's just testing out how much control he can get with the varying degrees of turning that knob.
But he's not telling it anything. He's
Yeah.
like,
Well, yeah, so they haven't really clearly explained how that all works, where you push the red button and then it does what you want them to do.
yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah. They haven't showed that part.
this scene is really
it does
messing
seem
us all up.
kind of goofy. Well, I was gonna ask you guys, have any of you guys seen Next Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, so in Next Friday, there's a like a cholo neighbor who has a American Bull Terrier, and then it tries to attack Craig, and then Craig like takes his belt off and starts like whipping it at him, and then
Yeah.
his name's Joker. Joker comes up and he's like, "What are you doing to my dog? Cruelty to animals!" And like that's all I could think in
My
my head
God.
was when he was like blowing up these rats. Cruelty to animals. So that's it. My little, yeah, I just thought that was funny.
Hank could not care less, right? Like this is his business and business is booming where he's exploding whatever he has to get this machine
Oh my
tested
gosh.
and working.
How that unfolds to he passes the area with the VIP people who have paid a lot of money to be in these crowd chambers. This is
Yeah.
the public that were rich that paid to be in this section to make it
Mhm.
through.
I
the
think
Fallout.
Barb might be in that one. I have
I
Strong prediction
I
there.
can feel that
Yeah, because I was expecting her to be in Vault 31.
with management, but she's not middle management though. She was upper management.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't realize there was like an upper management vault also, but
whatever
that makes a
there-
lot more sense.
and it's weird because it seems like a vault, but also the doors that he went through didn't look like typical
It's a-
vault doors.
But
But
a
it
more private facility.
is an upper management facility. So, and we'll find that out later. We haven't gotten to that part, and we could talk more about it then. But
Well,
my
and
guess is
something
Barb
Oh,
is
go
in
ahead.
that. That's it.
that's a good guess, Alex. I Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. But also in the first episode, they mentioned that Vegas was spared because of the
Missile defense system.
Yeah, the missile defense system that was set up.
By
And
House.
so they don't technically need to be in a vault if he has that,
True.
right?
Yeah, so I still haven't seen
He's
the
in a
first
high
episode.
rise, I think.
Yeah.
But that
And
clears that
untouchable
for-
because they had the defense system.
Yeah, that clears that up for me.
It reminded me of like going to work at the office on a Saturday
Right.
where you have stuff to do and nobody else is there and you're just kind of go about your way and you're doing your job and, you know.
And look how just giddy he was to get back to work too. You could just tell he's like
Dancing around the halls.
he's yo-yo while he's on the cart.
That tripped me. I was like, he's
Mhm.
yo-yoing on the cart while
Mhm.
driving. This arrogant
Well,
prick.
It's definitely
Impossible.
He's in his zone for sure.
They were telling us something with the yo-yo because if you notice, like when he first picks it up, he can't do it very well.
He gets better.
But then
though.
towards the end of the montage,
That's-
he's a lot better with it. So you can see how much time he's spent.
It's good. Yeah, that's a good.
Thousands of rats.
I like how they do that instead of having
Yeah.
having a dialogue. You know,
That is good.
Yeah.
I didn't catch
like
that.
oh, I've been in for X amount, or like looking at a calendar. They measured it through
Yes.
his yo-yo precision. That's actually really cool.
Interesting.
I love when they like trust the audience to hopefully catch some of that if possible instead of just spoon feeding it.
And I just love all those like that. That's one of my favorite parts of this series in general so far is like those little kind of poetic hints that they do, but they do it kind of visually. Like for instance, you know, like the bomb going off on Cooper at the last episode of season 1, and how it's like a bomb. You know, the ringing. He's like it's a bomb went off with him. Then the washing of the hands after Hank nukes the place, and then of course the yo-yo stuff. Like they're really good at like visually telling the story without having to put like plot lines in the dialogue, or you know.
That makes me think about Maximus Wash. That was before or after the fight?
Before.
Before.
Okay. All right. Before.
Yeah. But yeah, great points. And yeah, I think that's another reason I love this show is the visual storytelling, as I think we all do. But at the meeting,
Right. To the round
where
table.
we see these two idiot knights playing with a live grenade.
Well, and that opens up with the arrival of the council that he's invited to be here.
Exactly.
But he's
yeah.
This is like an
omitted.
enclave.
Yeah.
This is where Quintus tries to consolidate power with the other Brotherhood, territories. He attempts to get them to go along with it by providing them more power, more than they could ever want in the form of these fusion reactors.
Cold fusion. And
Cold
also
fusion, yeah.
they talk about that they didn't invite the Commonwealth.
Yes. It made it a big point to not, leave that part out, right? Like, hey, what's going on with that? Because we know something's going to happen. So
Currently the Commonwealth dictates what the Brotherhood's rules and everything is. Is that correct, Alex?
Yeah, so I was really excited when they brought up the Commonwealth. So the Commonwealth is one of the most kind of developed post-apocalyptic kind of, they're kind of like the NCR, but in the Northeast. So it's called the Commonwealth because it's Boston, it's Massachusetts. So it's like the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That's why they're called the Commonwealth. The most active and strongest, most organized Brotherhood faction is in the Commonwealth, and they are kind of very gung-ho American, old school kind of liberty and justice kind of types, if I remember correctly.
We're going to find out.
So yeah.
It's interesting. It's all in the West. It's the Grand Canyon, Yosemite.
And I was gonna say is I think that because we kind of got the Fallout origin story, which is kind of 1, 2, and 3 in the first season. The second season we're kind of going into the New Vegas lore. And I think they're opening it up to go into the Fallout 4 lore because Fallout 4 takes place in the Commonwealth.
okay.
So I think that they're doing, and I was really excited about them. Like, yes, I know where we're going because Fallout 4 is my favorite ones.
What did you guys think about this meeting? Anything? I mean, definitely recognize some of the actors sitting at the table, but I don't know. This was a really, really good scene because you can really, I think, understand what this cleric has been saying the whole time around like, hey, we're fighting amongst ourselves. We're not organized. We need to unify. And you can really see how he now has the ability to do that with these cold fusion cores.
Well, what I got from it, I think that I really like the dialogue between them. And this kind of goes back, I think Travis may have mentioned it earlier, but they did say, a brother is not supposed to spill another brother's blood. But
That's
then they mentioned that was the book, the book of the Brotherhood, their code, right? Their codex. that they all of a sudden, in the face of greed, saw that, like, okay, there's a faction that's kind of might be doing it better than they are, that has the most power, and they're going to have to band together and take that down, even against their own creed. And it just reminded me of kind of like the Middle Ages, which makes sense because it's the knights, right? Like the Middle Ages, you had, like, for instance, like you had England versus France, and that's where, like, Joan of Arc was, right? Like where she was fighting for France in Orleans against, like, it was church against church. It was the true, Pope Catholic, church versus, like, the English, who were a greedy kind of more political faction of the church, and that's what that kind of reminded me of. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah,
And they say at that point that the Commonwealth will not let this go on without a war.
Right.
Yeah.
Because,
Which he knows.
Yeah. And that just reminded me so much of the Battle of Orleans and such, that I'm seeing from my perspective that the Commonwealth might actually be kind of, and we'll have to see through the show, because they talked about this in the game. I don't think they went as deep, and I'm excited to explore this, but I feel like the Commonwealth might be the more justified, more kind of moral Brotherhood system. And then we saw, Xander Harkness show up, and so
That's just because you love Boston.
I mean, I guess.
No,
I
but
guess.
I it's interesting, like the dynamic that Commonwealth is going to bring to it, because we haven't seen that yet, so that's going to be cool.
Well, I think in this scene that also, I'm not sure if they realize it, but like he's flexing his power here, that he has control now, like that he has the potential for control, but also like they're all in his place. Like he could just kill them. Like, I don't know if I just kind of inferred that a little bit, just like, hey, he's really just kind of flexing on y'all. You could not take his deal, and he could just kill you and like take your followers. You know what I mean? Like,
Dang. Watch out for Travis if he ever invites you to a peace summit.
Well, and I think this is, yeah.
No,
And
but you're right. I thought that same thing too.
And I think that talking about scenes echoing scenes, like, for instance, when we saw Maximus's father, and that the whole nuclear fallout scene reminded me of Cooper and his daughter. This reminds me of the scene with all the corporate, the corporate meeting, and kind of how they're deciding everybody else's fate without everybody else's say so.
Correct.
And I think that this is going to be how Lucy's father in that corporate situation was kind of like her awakening to her father. This is going to be the same for Max and his new father, or Maximus and his new father. I think that Maximus is really going to play a pivotal point in this, and I'm excited to see how.
He looked really uneasy at the end of that scene. Like, I don't know if this is the way I want this to go. And he's one that's going to kind of push his golden rule forward.
And he's also already showing leadership skills, and he looks like he's got a good angel on the shoulder in the case of
And he's kicking ass. He beat the hell out and killed that guy who was twice his size.
Yeah.
He's the MVP for me for this episode. Shout out to Max. Just seeing some of his origin story.
I was going to say it too.
Maximus.
Now that she mentioned it, Max is mine as well. He's my MVP.
At this point in the episode, we catch up to Lucy and the tunic-wearing woman walking when they come across some people with torches lurking on the mountainside. And before Lucy can say anything to her, to her traveling companion, she disappears and she's just out of sight. And soon after, Lucy is surrounded by that group of, the guys wearing these Roman legionnaire outfits and holding these torches. Yeah, so let's just go with that. And nothing else, Alex.
I'm not going to say anything else.
Alex knows something we don't.
Yeah, he can't wait.
I was just going to say shortly before that, though, because we did kind of talk about this earlier, but as they were walking, that's when hints here. She said something, and then the tunic lady said gratius. And then she said, oh, Latin? I love educated people. Gratius, obviously meaning thank you in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, she opened that scene with such naivete and still upbeat, still positive. How you doing? I like that scarf. Like, and this lady's like, you have no idea that I'm leading you into this trap.
Well, she says, I love how it just classic Lucy, what she saw already. She goes, oh, fudge.
Yeah.
Or with the fudge or something like that.
Yeah, that was the quote of the episode for me.
And they whistled out. So they were like, they gave a call as they, poof, that girl's gone.
Gone. Yeah.
And then she's looking for her. Oh, gosh. Are you there? Hello? Where'd you go? So funny.
Yeah, she has no idea what's going on right now. But let me just get some at this point, because we don't really know, right? And maybe there's some stuff that you don't know too, Alex, but I know you have some idea. But we thinking these are good guys, bad guys?
No comment.
What do we think is going on? Because it could either be that the ghoul is right or that Lucy is right.
I plead
Well, the
fifth.
ghoul
about
seems to know about the tunics, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume that it's not all that great.
I'm gonna say bad guys as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think we read the room pretty well whenever we're thinking, okay, this probably is not going to go great for Lucy. Okay, I was just wondering because as soon as I saw like, wait a minute, Romans, huh? Like, yeah, I know it's heavy in the game, but just
Well-
why? I just was trying to wrap my head around it.
I want y'all to think about something, and I'm not going to say what it is, and you don't even have to say it out loud. But there is a particular casino in Vegas that is very famous.
I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you.
So-
Okay.
Okay. And then, so I'll leave that there. But you also mentioned the Pompadour
Circus,
greaser-looking
circus.
guys. Well, you know who else
I'm
is
just
very
kidding.
famous in Vegas?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, this is
Interesting.
even better than I thought, then, Alex. Because yeah, a lot of this stuff is making a little bit more sense now.
Also, since we're doing Easter eggs here, this would be. And then if anybody saw the Ghoul Dog, there's you hear there's a radio station in New Vegas, and then I believe the guy's name is Mr. New Vegas,
Yeah,
and he's actually voiced by a very famous Vegas personality in the game, and I think also in the TV show, if I'm not mistaken, like a real life Vegas personality. So
Okay, okay. I'm
Very
loving this.
Manilow.
Right on. Right on.
close, but no. And honestly, the only reason I'm not saying his name is because I can't remember, and I don't want to say it and be wrong.
Okay.
But it is.
Buffer?
It's a. Let me just look it up, sir.
You're talking about like Wayne Newton.
Maybe it was Wayne Newton. It's one of those guys.
It's got to be Wayne Newton.
I think it
Yeah,
might be.
Wayne
It's,
Newton's.
it's Wayne Newton or the other one. It's like it's not Bob Hope, but he has a name like that. But I think it might be Wayne Newton.
Or
But
like
it's not Bob
Sinatra
Hope. I'm
was
not
in
saying Bob
there.
Hope, but well, yeah, it's not Sinatra.
Sinatra's at
Sinatra's
Vegas
dead.
a lot. Okay, so back in Vault 31, Norm gives the group of motivational, or gives them a motivational speech that is completely fabricated, but he gets them all working together to
works.
solve the problem
Norm's
of
time to shine.
being locked instead of inside the vault there.
He gives them tasks to do. Okay,
Yes.
you know about this, so you figure that part out. You know about this, you figure that part out.
Well, and then they end up figuring out how to work together and create a human ladder to
Yeah.
get to the hatch in the ceiling. And then all of them go outside the vault to see
Yeah.
the wasteland for the very first time.
I think
I
could
was
climb
like,
up that human ladder.
"Woo!"
She's ready.
I was like, I
That was
can't
a cool
believe
part.
it. They made it out. So
Yeah.
Norm, I mean, he did it by waking them all up. He did it. He got them out of there.
Well, and it also,
You got him out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it established his leadership because they said, "Lead the way, boss." So
He's
I
a
thought he was
super
really-
manager.
I thought, honestly, I said that Maximus was my MVP, but Norm might be also. It's going to be
Gotta
hard
be Norm.
because, like, it's such a genius way he did that. Like, he knew how to manipulate the system, and then also we didn't bring this up, but like, I like when they said, "Hey, where's Atkins?" And then you just see him like in the trash can.
Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah.
funny. Nobody found that. Like nobody discovered that over in the corner. But they
No
don't.
one went to that side
If
of the.
it doesn't talk, they don't know that it's Bud.
Yeah, it's
right?
just like a Roomba in a trash can.
Yeah, it's a brain
Yeah.
in a jar.
They didn't know that was his brain or anything, right? So
I just couldn't climb up that human ladder. I don't know. I don't do well with heights. Like that's so sketch. But if it's you got if this might be our only way out. You don't even know yet. You just got to
It
go up.
was life or death for
just
him.
pulls you out.
But I was thinking, well, there's this huge thing on the surface. Couldn't somebody have climbed down it? Somebody from
Maybe.
the surface. But
Yeah.
maybe. But there was probably, it was probably sealed on the inside. I'm sure that they probably made it very easier to get out than to go in. Something that just occurred to me as you guys were talking about Norm, because if you remember in like the first season, Norm was trying to convince his sister to stay in the vault. Like, don't go out
Mhm.
there. You don't know what's out there. It's crazy. Or it could be crazy. Who knows what could be out there? And he wanted to just hang back. But now he's like at this point where he's overcome so many things and has seen so much. He's ready to risk it and go out there for the first time.
If you eat everybody's crackers from their welcome kit and run out of food, things change.
Do what you got to do, right?
He's had his new hero journey.
Yeah.
His metal has been tested.
Didn't he say it was beautiful when he got out?
And then
Did
I
he?
didn't catch that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the mall's gone.
the dude with the glasses is like, oh, the mall's. He's like, well, man, the mall's gone or something like that.
The mall's
Beautiful.
gone.
He's like, oh man, the mall's gone. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing this in the trailer, and I thought for sure it was Vault 33 that somehow got out, and went into the wasteland. But no, it was Vault 31, and it was all these it was all these buds.
And
So
I
that
don't,
was a cool twist.
I don't know if you still have.
His butt ass kisses, buds.
I'm glad that he got thrown in a trash can. That's what he deserved.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
He was a horrible manager.
I was gonna say though, I don't know if you still have this in your recap or not, but before we got to the point where they got out into the wasteland, that was where we saw Hank thaw out one of the managers, and then did an experiment on him.
One quick thing on that though, that Norm's, I call it Norm's Associates now because he's stepped up.
Norm's
he's a
Norm's
super
Buds.
manager. But I brought up last episode. I'm trying to really cut some of the X-ray features on Prime. Right, you see the music, and that was that song nailed it when they came to the surface. But it was Accentuate the Positive. Right, that's by Johnny Mercer and the Pied Pipers. So I just love when they come out to that. Anyways,
Yeah, that's another thing I don't think we've talked about
Very
too much
cool.
is how the music is. Well, what's really cool about it is it's all music that's from the video games. Like everything that I've heard so far, it's either from the video games or adjacent to that same time period, right? And how they use that for the storytelling too. Like each of the songs, like for instance, the titles have several different meanings, and each of the songs relate in some way to each scene, which I don't think is an uncommon thing in film or television, but they do it really well.
They're
like
doing
for
it really
instance,
well.
the Big Iron sequence in the first one, that's a big song in the game. But
Yeah,
it kind
Marty
of reminded
Robbins.
me, pulling it back to a very early
There you
episode
go.
that we did when we did when we did Weapons, was how we were talking about the opening song, was that I can't remember the title of it, but it was the George Harrison song that was very topical to kind of what was going on at the very beginning of that movie.
Yeah, a well-placed song just elevates the material. Whether you know it or
I wish
not,
that
you can
could
kind of feel it.
happen.
What?
I wish it could happen in real life.
in your day-to-day.
Theme songs playing all the time when you show up somewhere. Right now, theme song.
It usually
always.
does when we come to your house. I mean, so
Well, hey,
Woo!
with all that, what's that stuff that thing, the Neuralink, that might happen. Just like,
they will.
you have your playlist, like I'm feeling, I want to get pumped in the gym, and it automatically starts playing DMX.
And there will be ads coming in.
Yeah.
Vault-Tec today. Subscribe for your.
That's scary. Oh my God. I don't even want to think about that in relation
Yeah,
to this
exactly.
television show. They're all going to be in Mars while we're on a wasteland. And then Paul's going to be like, take me out, bro.
That is our future.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next we see Hank riding his Austin Powers designed cart,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes.
and he comes
That's
across
good
the
enough.
Premium Elite Plus section of the building. He decided to stop experimenting on mice and move on to human trials. This leads to another failed attempt at getting the mind-controlled devices to work and an even bigger mess to clean up.
And they never
And he-
actually show it blowing up. Like, they
Yeah.
just cut the
Well,
camera.
and he explains to the guy how, you bought this for yourself, but you didn't bring your family. Hank, I think, could give a fuck about this guy.
That's part of
Yeah,
his with
and
the
that's-
family.
Back to Hank's
Yeah.
golden rule.
His code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that, Travis. I'm glad they, didn't show the heads exploding all the time. Like I don't know. I thought it was still a good choice to not show it, but you can kind of
For
use
it
your
to-
imagination. Yeah.
But they'll splatter when the ghoul in other scenes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and for me, I didn't want to see the rats getting blown up, but I was kind of wanting to see this guy get his head blown up. And the reason is because this scene was very reminiscent to me of David Cronenberg's Scanners. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that movie.
I haven't seen it. I know.
Shout out
So
to
it's
those in the
basically-
comments who have.
Yeah, but shout out those who have. But we're kind of linking the episodes back to movies and references they're making. Like for instance, we talked about the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and the but this one for me it was like, so Scanners basically is short. There's people who have the psychic ability to make people blow their top literally. And there's a scene where they're on live television, and then the guy's just like face is starting to like get really tense, and all of a sudden, it just blows up like a watermelon. And you saw that, and I don't know if it was a direct reference to Cronenberg when they were doing that, but I was like, oh, they're gonna do the Cronenberg, they're gonna do the scanners, and then like you just saw it kind of blow up on the window. I was like, oh, that was a little.
They've been doing that on The Boys past couple seasons also.
He said that it makes me think of Gallagher.
Yeah, it's very
Splash
Gallagher-esque.
Zone.
It really is.
Which one? There was multiple Gallaghers.
There was.
The
Yeah.
original Gallagher.
The original.
The OG.
I thought that reminds me of
No,
that.
the Dave Chappelle version.
They- I was gonna say, Black
Actually, they were two brothers that called both of them called
Really?
themselves Gallagher and did the same
Yeah.
thing, the same act.
Yeah. I think one brother sold his act to the other brother.
But I think
is
there's
what happened.
Gallagher 1 and Gallagher 2, but one of the Gallagher, whichever one was the most famous for popping watermelons on people.
Yeah. At the end of the show, we'll ask everyone who their favorite Gallagher was. Okay, so yeah, anything else to say about Hank as he's doing this experiment? We have one last scene, which is we go back to the Brotherhood compound where the Knights are having some fun with a little hand-to-hand combat, gladiator style, but in suits. And Maximus gets challenged to a fight without their suits, and he ends up winning by getting a little stabby once his opponent pulls out a knife. And just then, the gladiator games are interrupted by Kumail Nanjiani, or as he calls himself on this show, Paladin Harkness, who wonders why he and the Commonwealth weren't invited. And that is the end of the episode.
I can't wait to see more of him. I also want to watch his comedy special on Hulu that just
came out, right?
He's so funny. I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only note I made on that scene was, damn, Max turned into a gangster. That was it. That's what I wrote. I thought
Damn, it
that was,
feels good
well-
to be a gangster.
that shit was good.
Well, it's funny because he is like really toughened up since we first saw him episode 1.
Well, has he, or is he just not fighting 10 guys at once and he's now just fighting one guy?
Well, I think that's what like shows like, okay, he's gotten ruthless in his fighting, you
Mhm.
know?
But you got to do what
And-
you got to do if someone's coming after you. And
Yeah.
And I think that's like in real life, right? Like you never want to fight because you don't want to get punched, but then you get punched and you're like, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, right? When you survive
Going
a
straight for the
fight-
balls.
Yeah. When you
the scene
survive a
really
fight-
unfolds right there.
When you
I mean, he
survive a-
looks towards the elder, and is like, once the knife comes out and the elder's, it's just part of the fight club, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, you're
Wait.
proving your worth.
So what were you guys thinking that was happening between him and the elder cleric there? Like, because to me it looked like he was looking up at him. Maximus is looking up at him, and he could not even care less. He was just so bored. He's drinking his drink. He's just like, yeah, you just got to do it.
Well,
I was
Not a
wondering.
care in the
why
world.
he keeps looking behind his shoulder like for some kind of
Like they would stop it.
anything approval. Yeah.
You want me to do this, or yeah?
But he's definitely
Yeah.
trained well. I mean, to be able to dodge a knife attack, reverse it. I mean, I don't know how to do that. I would
Well,
imagine I could
I
watching
do.
the show, but I don't know how physically. So that's sick. You do have training. She
I mean,
has
I've seen
training for sure.
Bloodsport.
My,
I've seen
with
You were a
my
boxer.
nunchucks.
You were a boxer.
yeah.
I've seen John
Seen a
Wick
lot of kung fu
You
times.
should
movies.
see me with the pair of nunchucks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I've seen John Wick about 10 times. I think I could hold my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for me, I think it was kind of what I was saying earlier when when I mentioned that Dane is like the good angel on his shoulder. So I think that the Grand Knight, what's his name? The Inquisitor, what's his name? Grand Inquisitor?
Quince.
Quintus.
Quintus.
I think
Elder.
that Quintus was one. I think it kind of. I mentioned two of these things. I mentioned that Dane was the good angel on his shoulder, and I think that I mentioned that Quintus is kind of like his new father, right? That he's looking for approval, right? So I think it illustrates that where he's like looking at him for like, does this please you, Father? Does this please you? And then what really illustrates and then makes him kind of like the devil on his shoulder. And what really illustrated that to me is earlier, like I had mentioned, he looks back at Dane and Dane's kind of looking at him like, disappointedly. Right. So I think that kind of solidified that theory I have, or the concept of like Dane being like his conscience, like his Jiminy D Cricket. And then Quintus is like his devil.
Well, what Maximus
Defines
should
personal.
have said, what he should have said is, "Are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Are you not entertained?"
Wait, wasn't that also as Maximus Decimus Meridius?
Yes.
That was
Yeah,
that was his name in the Gladiator.
I wonder if just for those, like, as you were saying it, I was thinking of Star Wars reference with that scene of where is this kind of some leader, and it's kind of like the Emperor and Kylo Ren, like
Well,
kind of.
and we mentioned that in an earlier episode. Remember, Travis, where I was like, the last episode where you see at the end where Quintus is actually kind of at his shoulder. And I think, James, you were the one that mentioned he was like, yeah, kind of like the devil whispering in his ear. And, so yeah, I think it's kind of all coming together. And then Dane would be like his angel.
Mm-hmm. What an episode.
Palpatine type.
The reverse knife jab.
I was just going to say what really bothered me is the guy was carrying a bayonet in his boot. You don't carry bayonets in your boot.
Okay. True.
Well, it's just like, I think like you wouldn't carry a bayonet in your boot. You would carry it on your body so you could put it on your gun. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would assume you would have like some sort of boot knife, like more.
Just like
These
you
are
don't
wasteland
wear
rules.
underwear with kilt.
Yeah, you gotta go full regimental.
You don't carry a bayonet in your boot.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone says those two things all the time.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. So since we all liked this episode,
I
go,
just
Travis.
got to finish it off with Sander because I didn't say anything about him. But just to nail it with that, I must not have gotten my invitation. End scene.
Yeah, and everyone was really waiting for more from him because that was the scene that was in the trailer too. But so if we can all think back to what our favorite moment, what would be our top moment of the episode? Anyone have
Scorpions.
an idea? What is it?
Scorpions. Giant mega scorpions. That's mine. Next.
That's all you got to say about it.
No, that's it. I thought so too. I thought that scene was really fun and just a good action sequence. CGI was good, and then also the golden rule kind of situation there. So
Smashing giant bugs with a frying pan. I mean, that's epic.
What about you, Paul? You got a top moment?
I mean, if we were talking about MVPs and, I still love Lucy's attitude,
Okay.
even though it's going to get her in trouble or seems to, I just like that, she just tries to keep an open mind to, really do the right thing, really try to do the right thing and then see what happens. But, I understand that after getting burned so many times, then you start to change your attitude towards things too. So
I think Lucy is probably going to be mine. The way that she goes about everything can be frustrating, but I think ultimately it's going to lead to something, great as the season goes on. Hopefully she doesn't change, but I know she is a little bit. But yeah, I would say for me it's probably Lucy, and just because of that, okie dokie attitude, she hasn't lost it yet.
Love it. It's Maximus for me, and seeing his origin story and his leadership skills and fighting skills. So shout out, Max.
What about you guys?
it was Maximus for me originally, but like I mentioned earlier, I'm switching to Norm just based off of sheer genius. Because as I was thinking about it, I'm like, man, like that was some quick thinking on his part, especially from the first episode when he kind of made that split decision where he's like, instead of going on the cryo thing or, starving to death, he's like, just immediately was like, no, I'm going to thaw these guys out and I'm going to make them work for me. Like that's some sheer, it's like he's
badassery.
Kind of reminds me of his dad, but like in a good way, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
like he's just like quick thinking and like, you know what, I'm not going to play by these rules. I got my own thing going on here.
Well, I mean, there were two scenes that I really honed it, like they were heavy and they like made me stop whatever distraction, and I was like locked in, which was the first one with the parents. So I think for me, maybe Maximus's parents were pretty good in this opening. And, just the father being able to he was figuring out how to get some water. But he knew how to okay, let me try and stop the bomb. Like immediately and just immediately in action and just, okay, run home. Okay, you get in the fridge and then we're talking and they're just, but I mean, the mother though, she did say a line we didn't cover earlier, but when she just says they're talking about a new baby, right? She's like, oh, we were working to all these things. But I thought it was just, they tried to put a little funny thing in almost every scene. And just for her to be like, oh, well, not unless you want to push a baby out of your own ass.
Yeah.
That was just so, it was it's because it's 1950s, but then she says this crazy thing. That scene. And then it comes back to Maximus later. And it's so intense watching him decide to go ahead and do the knife in the chest. Those two scenes, I was in. It was quiet and I was just locked in. It was heavy. They were heavy scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because his mom also said we were just getting started.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
That hit hard too. But yeah, I mean, really, really good episode. And it's really a change now that we have to wait a whole week to watch the next one. But I wonder, did anyone watch the preview of the next episode? Do you guys ever take part in that?
Probably will now, but I just did not have enough time.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't yet.
Yeah.
But explain.
I haven't.
What's on your mind, James?
I usually don't. But I did this time. But I was just wondering if anyone does that. Because I always wonder, like,
They show it right at the end, right after the credits.
after the credits, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes people don't
Always
wait for
the
it.
recap, though.
Oh, really?
Always watch the recap, not the preview, though.
Yeah, some people skip the recap. Some people will skip the title sequence. Well, this one, Fallout doesn't have one, but, or they'll skip the next on preview. Just wondering what your guys' habits are. But yeah, it seems really good, and we will get a little bit more Kumail Nanjiani. We will get a little bit more of those other factions, and that's exciting.
I think our habit lately has
Awesome.
been to watch it twice. We all seem to watch it twice.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
to. Yeah.
Yes.
This time I was a little bit late, but yeah, let's watch it.
I
when it
like
comes out
watching
and
at
once
like
more.
4 a.m. for some reason. Like, just early in the morning. That's
Okay.
my favorite time to watch it.
I can't do that. I
Yeah.
gotta drink coffee first.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode as we cover Season 2, Episode 2 of Fallout. Join us next week as we cover Episode 3. Until next week, I would love to know, what character do you relate to the most so far? I relate to Lucy because I would travel across the wasteland just to save my cat. But I relate to the ghoul because I would burn the world down and everyone in it that got in my way of saving him. So let us know in the comments. And what do you guys think? What character do you relate to the most?
For me, it's Lucy, of course. I mean, I just,
Love that.
in a world of hate, you got to like the person that's really wants betterment for everyone.
I'm going to go Norm just because I like the idea of, getting people to work together for the common good. And, that seems to be a good way to go.
I think you're just implying
is
that you're
the
a
brain.
genius. I'm a genius. That's why I like Norm.
Yeah. I totally didn't say it right after Alex did.
For me, I mean, to me, it's really hard to pick. There's so many conflicting factors. I kind of see a part of myself in each and every one of them. I'd like to say the ghoul, but I think I have a little bit too much of a moral code, so a little bit Lucy there. But overall, I think I'd have to pick Maximus just because his character growth, just, from a personal perspective, being a dumb goofball when I was younger and then trying to be a good father and a good man and a good leader. So I would say Maximus overall.
I think for me,
Very cool.
maybe because I'm still single, but I know I'm a nice guy. Like I said last week, I think I'd end up being shit. Just get stuck trying to get with the hot chick, but she's got me stuck with this damn baby.
That's very honest of you. I love.
But I'd be like, what do I do? I mean,
Yeah, you want to see how
That is
his
honestly the
storyline
best
carries out.
answer.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the best answer ever. So y'all let us know in the
That took the
comments
Jell-O
what
cake.
character. Yeah, what character you relate the most to and why. Please like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And please give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you for listening. That's a wrap on this week's episode of Cinema